The Wild have just made a sneaky good signing as Bill Guerin signs one of the best contracts of the offseason so far with Marcus Johnansson, and with John Hynes looking to keep that depth throughout the lineup, keep that production. This is unreal for the Wild, but it's not just that we have to discuss today. One Wild insider for The Athletic suggests a crazy move that brings in a talent that fixes a lot of the Wild's problems, but it's a bit controversial, so we have a lot of stuff we got to get into on this episode of Wild Digest. And Kirk, let's just start with this Athletic article. As always, all our references linked down below, at least for this article. The rest are tweets. You can see them all out there. Elliot Friedman, Michael Russo, you know where to get it. But let's dive into this Corey Perry stuff. Now, Joe Smith in a recent article was talking about a lot of different things for the Wild this offseason, Kirk, and we know the Wild are looking for a nice solid bottom six and looking for some winners, trying to keep establishing this culture as we move into the future. And he said, look, the Wild need a fourth line center who can win draws, kill penalties while driving that line. If Minnesota adds and it pushes Freddie Gaudreau down there, that's one thing. But as for wingers, why not give a look to Corey Perry? The 40-year-old former MVP still plays at a high level and can be useful on any line from first to fourth. And he brings an edge and swagger to the room, kind of like what Pat Maroon did. Now, Kirk, Corey Perry, again, having a career resurgence with his highest goal per game rate in 7 years, with 19 goals in 81 games this year. He still has it. He can still go, even though he's 40. What are your thoughts on bringing in a guy like Corey Perry to solve this whole Wild, fourth line, I don't want to say issue, but one of these problems that we're looking to at least improve moving forward?
I love it. Corey Perry is a guy that you hate to play against, love to have on your team. And as long as he's still producing, and even though it's necessarily not the highest level, for a 40-year-old, 19 goals, 11 assists in 81 games, still playing 81 games, keep in mind as well, is phenomenal. You can't ask for much more than that. And especially a guy who will not be signing for more than $1 million usually. We saw him on certain occasions if a team was trying to outbid somebody. But for a guy like Corey Perry, putting him in any given scenario that he's been able to do, he's played some first line minutes with the Oilers this year with Connor McDavid. That gives the Wild a lot of opportunities to have that solid fourth line guy who would fit down there wherever you want to put him. Just say Freddie Gaudreau does come down like this article mentioned, but just say there's an injury in one game. Put Corey Perry up on the first line with Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek. That could be something very, very interesting to look at when it comes to the Wild, comes to a signing like this. And I think there's really no downside to it whatsoever. It's better than many other different signings of some older players here who may have that veteran experience. So I'm all for Corey Perry in this instance, as long as, of course, the price is right for him, because we know that he's still still play probably until he's about 50.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. He doesn't seem like this guy ages, right? I mean, again, former Hart Trophy winner. It's a long time ago now, but somehow just continues to produce for the Edmonton Oilers. And again, looking at this lineup now, especially with the signing we'll talk about in a second, there's not too many roster spots if you assume that Ogren's going to be on the big club for a good chunk of the season, which is, I think, what a lot of Wild fans are hoping. But I've seen some people even discuss Ogren's name in trade talks for bringing in a better player. That might be something we'll dive into in the future. But hey, if a spot's available, what do you think about Corey Perry? Because look, if we want to add that kind of winning talent to the team, if he's willing to do it, if it's for a small contract, it's probably a decent idea. But look, we got to move on, Kirk, again to the big signing today. But hey, before we do, if you're enjoying this video and you like when the Wild make big signings, hit the subscribe button down below. Research and stats have confirmed that if you hit the free subscribe button to this channel, the Minnesota Wild will make a signing that you will like. Let's dive right into this, Kirk. And look, Michael Russo said, as I alluded to today, Minnesota Wild, they re-signed Marcus Johnansson to a 1-year, $800,000 contract. Could have been a UFA next month. Now, we talked about this last night when the Athletic article from Russo came out, and we were like, hey, we'd love to get him back on a pretty small deal, Kirk. I don't think anyone thought it would be this small. $800,000. Honestly, an absolute steal of a contract, you ask me. It's a sneaky move that I think a lot of fans around the league, they see this, they think, okay, but we know the kind of production he can bring. His even strength defense, according to Jay Fresh's card here, is quite good. 64th percentile in projected wins above replacement. We know what Marcus Johnansson brings, Kirk, and a lot of the points we discussed in last night's video are still really true right now. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another, a contract where a guy's making as little money as Marcus Johnansson, other than rookie-scale deals, that's contributing as much to their team as we project him to do next year.
Yeah, I mentioned yesterday's video. I expected Marcus Johnansson to have somewhat of a bidding war for a lot of teams looking for a veteran guy, someone who's able to help out on any line, middle six, top six if needed, bottom six be a really good spot down there. And as we saw with the Wild last year, he fit that role very, very well. 11 goals, 23 assists. Putting him with many different players certainly gives that opportunity for the Wild to be able to go and make some different lines, and having that veteran leadership for $800K not just in the bottom six, but also really having that defense there in any given scenario, a penalty kill it may be. A lot of people don't realize how good he is at defense. And I think that a lot of people from years ago just remember how fast he was, how good his offense was. But now that he's gotten older, he's kind of shifted his game around to still have that very good offensive level. But defense has been something that a lot of people are looking past. So I love the signing once again. I think it's a great one. And even though you see there, time on ice line is a second liner, even Jay Fresh knows that there's a lot of opportunity left for Marcus Johnansson to still be fit into any different possible lineup that John Hynes is going to create with him here.
Yeah, and I think similar to what we were saying with a guy like Corey Perry, is like Marcus Johnansson in a pinch if you need him. He can play second line. He has the skill that you could, like, if it's an emergency, stick him on that top line, right? Like, this is one of those things. He's a player that does tend to fit with a lot of different lines. Now, again, like we said last night, I mean, I don't want to see Mojo be the kind of guy that we rely on to be a second liner every night. Again, a lot of that comes down to injuries, but again, looking at the Wild's outlook for next year, I mean, a lot of us are already penciling in Danila Yurov to be a top six player, which takes one of those slots, and Zuccarello will probably still be there. Don't know about Rossi, but if Rossi's not still around, we'll probably bring someone in to replace that, or maybe he is still around and he'll still be a top six level talent. So to me, Marcus Johnansson is one of these bottom six level producers, Kirk, and again, that does kind of raise some questions with, you know, who John Hynes is going to put on which line, because we have a lot of bottom six level guys like Foligno. I mean, Foligno, though, to be fair, his defense is also phenomenal. I think someone gave him a first place Selke vote. Like, he honestly deserves more credit for his defense. And yeah, he's not a fourth line guy. He's at least a third line guy. But you guys, Hartman, you got Gaudreau, you got Trenin, and even adding like that kind of defense, that grit and grind to Mojo, I think it gives a lot more dynamic ability to the Wild's bottom six to do stuff. But Kirk, with that known, with Johnansson coming in now, and like, do you see any world where like maybe a guy like Ogren will not get his chance coming up next year? I know it's a bit of a tough question with him. You know, I'd also like, you know, maybe Mojo could play some center as well. We don't really know. Brendan Gallants is probably not going to be on the team, but like, as we fill in these spots here and we consider offseason moves, I'm starting to wonder like how much space will still be there for our young guys heading into next year.
Yeah, I think Ogren's definitely going to have an interesting camp, especially when it comes down to it. I fully do expect him to at least make the lineup off the rip. I do expect him to get into this lineup right away. But when it comes down to it, will he stay there? I think is a big question. But I think that's the importance of a guy like Marcus Johnansson. You bring him in, you know he can play those 82 games whenever you need in any given scenario in the bottom six, in the middle six, and putting him in that role, putting him in a slot that Ogren maybe only be able to fill for, you know, half the season and then kind of a drop off. That's why this signing is so important for the Minnesota Wild right now at this price tag, because we know that Ogren is someone that we all want to see in this lineup, but we haven't seen it yet. A few injuries here and there. It caused a bit of uncertainty. So Marcus Johnansson being able to stay with this team, avoid becoming a free agent, he now gives us that opportunity to have a safety blanket whenever we really need to. And, you know, he may not play every game. He's shown that he's been able to play at least 72 this season, and I think that that level will keep up. So it just gives us that little bit of security there, while also having the opportunity to, you know, maybe only play him half a season if the Liam Ogren guy is able to stay at this NHL level for a full season.
And, you know, an 800K cap hit, you don't even mind if he has to be the 13th forward every now and then, right? Again, if Ogren proves himself, which I am really hoping he does. Like, I don't love the idea of trading Ogren. At the same time, I want to see him establish himself in the NHL. But again, at the contract hit like Mojo, you can kind of do whatever you want with him. And as long as he's happy, as long as the Wild are happy, I'm happy too. It's not like the money is wasted no matter what his role is. Regardless, the veteran leadership matters for something as well. So listen, leave your thoughts on this down below. The Corey Perry stuff as well. There's a lot of interesting Wild news going on right now. And hey, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, hit that free subscribe button down below. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Kirk Day. We'll catch you in the next one.